Good morning and welcome to Jung at Harp, episode number 185, Embodied Music, When the Muse is You. I'm Kathleen Wiley, a Jungian psychoanalyst in North Carolina, and I am here with Deborah Henson-Conant, a composer, a mentor, a creative. We both play the harp, and that's why we call this Jung at Harp. Almost every week we come together to have a conversation about the intersection of music and psychology and what we might learn from each other and you that will apply to our life this week. And we always start with a question. We don't start with answers. So we start with a question that we explore together. And if you're joining us live, we invite you to join in the conversation through the chat. So you can put in comments and hopefully we will see them and you become a part of our conversation. So, DHC, would you like to tell us a little bit about embodied music and the Muse? And you?
Yeah, and me. It's really interesting because when people talk about improvisation, I hear people say something often like, I'm not good at improvisation because I can't play what I feel or I can't play what I hear. And I remember thinking that as well. And this is in the context of what I noticed about music, which is that when I know the structure, the underlying structure of the music, and I can play that underlying structure, I can both lead and follow myself. So I just want to juxtapose these two things. One way that people think about improvisation is I hear something and then I can play it. But I propose another part, which is a much more embodied part, embodied way of playing, rather than intellectual way of playing. I cannot play what I hear. For years I was like, if only I could play what I hear, my improvs would be so great. And then one day I actually did. Like I did, and I was recording, and I was like, this is going to be amazing. And I went and I listened to it, and it was really uninspired. And in many ways predictable. And the way I improvise, and one of the reasons I love the harp and what I saw, because I came to the harp as an adult, but what I saw about it as an instrument was, wait a second, this whole harp at any point is in a key center. Unlike any other instrument, on the piano you have 12 keys per octave. On the harp, you have 7 keys per octave. On the piano, you choose the 7 keys per octave that work in the key. In the harp, you set the notes to be the 7 notes. So, for example, here I am in the key of C. I will now watch me. I just shifted it to minor. On a piano or any other instrument, you would have to choose. You would choose different keys, but I'm choosing now, and now I have complete freedom. I can use all the same technique. To me, this is really profound because I didn't grow up with piano lessons in the normal way, so I didn't have that facility with scales, and I'm glad because that led to a sort of atonal or semitonal way of playing. But what I discovered about the harp, and again, why I fell in love with the freedom of it, is because now here I am. Okay, now I did just change one, but let's just take. Let me take something I might enjoy more. Like, let's see. Okay, so I'm applying a style. I haven't done anything to the harp. So now I'm improvising, but I haven't thought about what I'm going to do before I do it. I'm actually in a state. I've thought about what chord progression I'm playing. So I've thought about the structure, but the rest I am both leading and following. So I'm thinking about, maybe going up, or I'm kind of doing what my body's doing. My body, what's easy for my fingers. It's easy for my fingers to go. it's easy for them to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's just easy because of the way the fingers are. There's 1,000 ways you could go up, like have that up feeling, but I'm following what's easy for my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up realizing that how I improvise and why I'd like to spend more time with it so that I could find out where it takes me as well is all about following physically what's happening, feeling the gesture and the movement while the structure, all the thinking is here. And yet that thinking, I can just say, oh, right, this is a progression 1, 6, 4, 2. Got it. Okay, that's done. This is the rhythm. That's the rhythm. Okay, got that. It's almost like I've plugged those things into my body. Now they're going. And no matter what happens, even if I only have one hand, it's still gonna dun, 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 dun. And then I can just kind of I can dance on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what I'm saying. It's just I find that first of all, people are often resistant to doing improv in a way that works for their body because they have an idea of what it's supposed to be. Whereas as soon as you're improvising, as soon as you take on the idea of improvising, you can improvise with anything. I have one finger. I don't know. What am I saying? I love it. It's great because I can see that your mind is looking at this both from the standpoint of, from Jung, from your experience, and from your experience as a harpist who may have exactly these same ideas.
Yeah, wow, there's so many things we could open up in all that you've shared. I want to go back to probably the second thing you said, which is that a lot of people say, I can't play what I feel or hear.
Right.
And that somewhere there is a disconnect from the sensory experience of hearing, whether it's hearing from the outer world or hearing internally, the small voice. You're
I
looking.
think, yeah, because I think that it's not, the issue isn't that they can't play what they hear or what they feel. The issue is that they think they should be able to. And in fact, it's a different function.
Well, we started off camera talking about release.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so just for those of you who are joining us, we got to embodied music when the muse is you by talking about releasing, which I said was a big ask.
Right. I was talking about how all my coaches and therapists keep saying the same one thing to me, which is let go of this, let go of this, let go of this, release this.
And so I want to talk about release for a minute because I live with a professional folk musician who teaches music orally. And I loved your post this past week about, what did you call it? Sweem or smarm? Sheet music.
Smesh. Sheet music entrapment syndrome for harpists.
I love Smesh. I think Smesh is so true. That one of the things that, if you're going to be able to play what you feel or hear, you have to release that it has to be done an exact way according to an outer authority. The sheet music being the outer authority, or whomever is playing the version of the traditional tune that you want to learn and make your own.
Which you have then embodied and taken on as the person who is saying it has to be this way.
That's right, because it gets in our psyche. And once it gets in our psyche, then psyche includes body, according to Jung. And so once it's in the psyche, we don't just have that thought, that ideal, that expectation. Then all of our muscular apparatus, our body starts to tighten around that, tighten in an attempt to move in that direction. And the minute we tighten, we block energy. So we have to release. But to release the muscular armature means we're going to have to tolerate feeling I might not do it according to the outer authority.
I'm laughing because I'm doing this physical warm up. You probably can't hear all the noise that's happening outside. I'll just try to focus on
Okay.
you. It's a mobility thing, and I'm committed to do it for 30 days, and it's all got squats and stuff. And I'm watching the woman on the screen do it, and she's blah, 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 and she's dancing and and I'm just absolutely like can barely do it. But I realized that, first of all, that it's starting to release things, and it released a lot of energy in me, which was a surprise. And also I could feel it in my running. I could feel like, whoa, suddenly there's more, something I'm like my legs were like pendulums rather than something else. And also the big release was watching her and being me, and having it be okay, knowing that the incredible awkwardness, I would not want anyone to see me doing that. But I understood also that it was, first of all, it has nothing to do with her because that's what she does for a living, but she is leading me in a direction that is going to open up parts of me. And this is also what I love, this physicality, because it already, in my awkwardness, 3 days, it already opened up things in me that had nothing to do with what she was showing me physically. But it opened up just me. So, sorry, where did I come in this? Help me. Where do we start this?
Well, I just want to say that Wilhelm Reich was a psychoanalyst who developed, he really took the idea of psyche as body and developed a theory of character structures, which included identifying patterns of muscular tension that correspond to underlying character structures. And one of his whole premises was that emotion gets trapped in body tension. So that when you're talking about the release of energy you're feeling from doing these movement exercises, tension and tightness in muscles actually entrap psychic energy, which usually carries an emotional tone or quality. And so our resistance against our own emotions and affects and body sensations is part of what blocks the flow and keeps us from being able to embody our own muse, i.e., to play what it is we hear or feel.
Well, and it's interesting because as you were speaking, I was thinking, oh, I'm not so sure that those warm-ups were the thing that really released the energy in me, but the warm-ups released my running. And the running that I did on the third day was a very different kind of running. And it occurred to me that is the thing, maybe, who knows, that then opened up this other, just energy in my life.
Well, I would say it was all working in tandem. I think that you couldn't have had that. I would suggest you couldn't have had that experience running had you not been doing these movement exercises.
Correct. Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That I was thinking the movement exercises that opened it, but that started it, and then and then it went into the running, and then it came into my life, and then I was like, I have to paint the floor at midnight, and then the floor is painted, and then it's fun, and then so it goes, and I think the reason I love this is because this is when I am both leading and following myself. So to me, that chain of events, do this physical thing that then opens me up to more freedom in something I'm already doing, running, which then opens up this other world of possibility in my regular life. The floor has looked like crap for, worse and worse for years. And then it was like, boom, now it's bright red. um, but that wasn't the only thing that opened up. And this is what I love about this, when the muse is you, is that this is happening, but now I'm following myself. I'm not thinking I'm going to go da 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 da. I'm don't know what I'm going to do.
Right. You don't know what you're going to do. And you do have a, oh gosh, what's the right word? I want to say storehouse. You have a room full of resources with your technique,
Right.
with your snippets, with
Right.
your understanding of patterns, with your comfort level with moving around on the harp, with your technical skills. You have play toys, so to speak.
Right.
You've got Legos. You've got the Lego.
I got the Legos, but I realized I have something else. Like yesterday, we did Harp Time Live, and I noticed that one of the things that people will do with me when we're doing Harp Time Live, because I'm there holding it, is they will play things over and over and over again. And the point of playing something over and over again is it starts to open up. Once you get the foundation, then you start getting the functionality, then you get the fluency, and then you get the freedom. It comes out of it that way. But most of the time, people are stopping right in the beginning and saying, that doesn't sound good. So imagine if I was thinking that when I was on the floor watching this woman do this and, looking like an idiot. Imagine if all I was thinking is, that doesn't look right.
So I wish that we could go back right now. I'm going to go back and watch the video. That progression you said, people start out and they first feel this, then what can you say that?
Oh, was the thing about foundation and foundation, and then functionality, and then fluency, and then freedom. And you can have freedom very quickly if you make a foundation that's super simple. Then you can have foundation, functionality, fluency, freedom very quickly.
So I love that, the 4 4s. Because if we're going to embody our music, then we have to start with having a conscious foundation, meaning a conscious connection to the foundation of our psyche, which is our body mind. So to embody music, we have to start with the foundation of the self we are, the body mind we are, if it's going to truly be our music. So when you are doing the challenges and you all for a snippet or a template or a progression or whatever, you're saying, here's the foundation.
Right.
And as you get comfortable with that foundation, because we do have to get comfortable with ourselves. Believe me, there are things about myself it's taken a lifetime to get comfortable with. I'm right. I'm not the only one, I'm sure. I mean, we have to get comfortable with the foundation.
Yes, and it's. I want to pull up what Victoria's saying, but I also want to just pull up the thing that you're talking about, which is the is this it? Yeah, the Improv Now. No. Yeah. So take a picture of this if you play the harp, or if you know a harpist, and go and sign up for it, because this is a perfect example. If Improv Now is based on the 5-day challenge, and it's a 5-day challenge, but what it does is gives an improv foundation that is so simple, and yet it happens to be a really functional progression that gets used all over music, and it's especially powerful in jazz. And then it gives you a way to to begin your fluency journey with it. But what's amazing to me is that when people allow themselves to do it at their level, whatever that is, they get to freedom very, very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So I want to just give people a minute to get that, and then I want to bring up. I'm going to bring up what Victoria is saying without even looking at it first. I love doing this. Okay, so let's see what happens when I try to pull up both at once. Oh, very good. My therapist just talked to me about letting go. I think they're all talking to each other. Let's say to all our people this week, let go, release. It is interesting how when I released what goes on in my head, my body felt lighter and more free instantly. Well, Kathleen, please discuss that with us. Why? What's
Well,
happening here?
it's all interconnected. I mean, Jung says that the body and the mind are different densities of the same energy. It's all psyche. So, it works in tandem. If we're holding on to an ideal in our mind, there is a compensatory body tightening. If we release that thought, truly release it, then the body tightening starts to release. It can also work in the reverse direction, which is what body workers know and do.
Right.
Um,
Oh.
yeah, and in a Reichian psychoanalysis, you are actually on a massage table, and the therapist, the Reichian psychoanalyst, is working very deeply, like a
Oh.
massage therapist, to release tension in your muscle while talking and being with you around whatever emotion and memories are coming up in the process. So it goes together. The Western world still has this idea that it's disconnected, but it's not. It's one and the same. So, a change in one level will make a change in the next and the other level. By level, I mean physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. It's all
Aha.
interconnected.
And this reminds me of the work that I used to do with Tony Montanaro, mime, who talked,
Mm-hmm.
who was all about physical eloquence. And one of the games that we used to do was take the shape of um, anger, but
Mm-hmm.
but purely from a shape method. How do you shape your face? How do you shape your body? And one of my favorites was taking the shape of laughter and taking the shape of
Mm-hmm.
little laughter and then bigger laughter and then just like the biggest laughter and what happens to your body. And we used to pass a laugh along a line and just to watch that progression.
Yes.
And as you were talking about this body mind thing, I was also thinking about the instrument and I was thinking about the connection of harmony to rhythm, to melody, to the structure of a song. All of that is happening at once. And it's when I teach, I'm always teaching people there's three roles in music: there's bass, accompaniment, and melody. And then people are like, well, what about rhythm? And rhythm is in everything. It infuses it all. So it's making me think of what you're talking about the body um, and these different realms or dimensions, really.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah. Um, it is all interconnected. And you said something. You know how you have a thought and it goes, my thought,
Mm,
the train left without me.
go like this if that happens, so I can stop.
Stop. I'm just going to go back to foundation, functionality, fluency, and freedom,
Mhm.
because, the foundation of our own energy system is everything. And this is where, when connecting to the muse that is
Mhm.
you,
Mm,
we wait. We have this idea we have to wait for the outside. It's somehow to come from the outside.
right.
That I'm just supposed to wake up and magically have the energy, the inspiration. You used the word inspiration a few minutes ago about something. And I thought part of embodying our music and embodying the self we are starts with the foundation of our own felt experience, the foundation of what's going on inside of us, and tending that vital spark of life force that is our essence. Because if I tend that essence in me, then I will want to move towards creating music on my harp or writing something or doing an Instagram post. But when my head takes it over and tries to lead it's like putting the cart before the horse. There's got to be that connection to the vital spark, if we want to use that phrase, the life force, the spark of that divine self in you, that then inspires. It's the flame, it's the inspiration. I always think about inspiration as fire. it,
Mm,
it warms things up. Inspiration moves things.
mm,
And
right.
so having a foundation of knowing your own energy system, you know. And this is where,
Huh.
embodiment practices are invaluable, because we often are trying to move through life disconnected from the foundation of the self we are. We're too caught up trying to meet someone else's expectations, fit in the right
Mm,
role,
mm,
accommodate to this ideal. When you were talking about one other thing, and then I'll be quiet. When you were
no.
talking about your work with Tony and embodying
Mm,
laughter or in
mm,
anger or whatever it was, I was thinking about how two things as an adult that have helped me really get comfortable in my body and my physical skin are when I did ballroom dancing. I took ballroom dancing lessons, and when I learned to swim, because I learned to swim as an adult about, gosh, I guess 18, 19 years ago, I learned to swim. And swimming and ballroom dancing changed my felt sense of the foundation of my body mind, because the movement took me, it opened up, it put me in a whole different realm. The movement of just being swept across the floor with my dance partner in a waltz, or really getting to be playful and seductive in a samba, or whatever, it changed it. And the swimming and that being held by the water. So this idea of being in our body
mm,
does often come about, the comfort level for that comes about through physical movement, whether it's what you were doing with Tony or what I was
mm,
doing with swimming or dancing. And
mhm.
I still, when I don't get to swim, I haven't swam in 7 days, and believe me, that's on my schedule for the day. If I don't swim every 2 or 3 days, my body wants that, because there's a felt sense that allows me to stay connected to something of the larger self I am, and the larger whole that holds me and holds all of us.
When you're saying that, I'm thinking about flying.
Okay,
And
yeah.
um and I'm thinking that there are things when you said ballroom dancing and swimming, I was like, well, those are things that in which you feel like you're flying. You're experiencing the wind of movement or
Mhm,
following, and yet you also have some of your own volition as
mhm.
well. And it's one of the things that I love about the harp and playing is that you are flying and you can do it like in I mean, like literally just that one little thing,
Mhm.
and you are flying. Or for me, when I'm singing instead of speaking, it's like I'm flying. I mean, that's what it feels like. And it just occurred to me as I did it. Why? Because I'm taking the wind of what's I'm saying, and I'm floating, or I'm soaring, or I'm gliding. I mean, it actually gives all those magnificent flying experiences. I'm going to pull Victoria up.
Ah,
Okay. If the body and I feel like these are like secret messages from like, a bottle just came up on the shore. Let's see what's inside it. If the body and mind were connected, maybe if the body and mind are connected, maybe we can take
mhm,
advantage of using gestures and music more. No,
mhm.
she said, of using gestures and movement more. Yes. And this is part of what I do love to teach, especially when I'm teaching improv on progressions. That
Mhm.
once you get the foundation of that progression and you get some fluency into it and you know what the function is, yeah, then it becomes about gesture and what's comfortable for your hands as well. I should try. I should try playing the harp standing up and see if the extra range of movement by not sitting would help with improvising. Um, Being able to stand up and get out of behind the harp and sitting was a huge for me, and it's why I went to Tony in the first place. I felt trapped. I felt like this thing is always in front of me. I'm always behind it. I was playing the pedal harp at that time. Get me out, because if you don't get me out from behind here, I'm leaving this instrument and I'm not going to play it. And that was the first step to, getting up and starting to play with the harp and leaning the pedal harp forward. There's pictures that you can see of me of the progression of this, of like standing up, leaning it over, starting to dance with it. I wrote this suite, Stress Analysis of a Strapless Evening Gown, where part of it was playing, and then as the orchestra played, to go and dance. And then eventually, of course, it would turn into the instrument that truly you can then fly with it. And I just want to say, this is what happens with us over time when we actually work with what we have to feel freedom with what we have.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to go to someone else. We often need to go to someone else to get out of that thing that we're in. And then little by little, that freedom that I experienced, that I allowed myself to experience within the trap that I felt I was, allowed that trap to open, and then eventually to become the instrument that was like, oh, well, this is what I was looking for. But it didn't even exist.
Yeah. But your desire was the spark that then we know grew into the DHC.
Right.
So,
and I just want to be really clear, and it had everything to do with my partnership with Kamak, mm-hmm. because there were other people making electric harps. I mean, Rudiger Oppermann had a harp like this. He was playing it. He wasn't using it in that physicalized way. Mm-hmm. That wasn't but I saw the possibility. I saw them, and then I was able to connect with Kamak about it. Mm-hmm. But, so what are we trying to get to here?
Well, I want to pick up on what Victoria is saying, because, I've mentioned Annie Murphy Paul's book before, The Extended Mind. Part of what she talks about there is thinking with movement. And so movement, definitely the whole apparatus of creating is tied to movement, and movement facilitates that. And, as you were talking about the flying, I had this aha, which has probably been obvious to other people, but we're such a nice synergy, because I'm so much more earth and water, and you're fire and air, and we need them all. We need them all. That just occurred to me. So for me, the idea of flying on the harp, I'll never do a glissando like that. But if I think of it as water flowing, then my body wants to do it. I just had this like, oh, isn't that interesting how, I want something under me. Air is invisible. At least I see water and earth, So it was just an interesting moment of realization of how the foundation of our own being, the foundation of our body, mind, of our psyche, and our own, whether it's a natural disposition, it's our astrology sign, it's a temperament, we won't go into all that. There are various perspectives on it. But that for me, if I imagine the glissando as the stormy waves or the gentle waves, I want to go do it. But the idea of flying, I'm like, that terrifies me. So maybe this is part of in your maybe this came to me this morning because I just Spiral 9 of my embodiment circle. I just did a training for them this week on the body and the elements, and how working with the elements. Anyway, the power of that and expanding that energy. Yeah.
I wanted to bring this up because it was what you said. Donald said, I love thinking I love it that it was a glissando being a wave rolling up and right. And what I'm hearing, Kathleen, is and this is one reason I love being in the academy with a group of people who are all sharing their process. If I keep saying fly over and over again, that's not going to speak to everybody. Right. And I love that it's wave, and now I'm thinking it could be a wave of wheat, and it could be who knows what the glissando is for others. What I started writing down is, and again, this is what I love about the academy, and I hadn't really thought about it in terms of foundation. I'm teaching foundation and then functionality and then fluency and then freedom. And what happens when the freedom starts happening is the person is revealed.
Mm.
And I'm wondering, I haven't performed as I've been focused on composing and publishing my work and the academy, and I just occurred to me that the more I perform, the more I am revealed to myself as well as to others, and the more I am embodying this relationship. Because for me, I mean, I love tools, and I have always loved tools, and I've always loved anything that engages with my fingers. And so to me, this is a missing part of my body. And when I'm not engaging and exploring and being present with it, I'm not finding that next. Which brings us back to the title. When the muse is you, but which part of you, there are so many parts that as they get released, like at first I was thinking that whenever my therapist and everybody was like, release, I was thinking, let go, let drop things, which is great. That's also part. But then when I did this mobility exercise and I realized, well, I didn't release my leg and it's gone. I released it. And then a whole new experience showed up that was inside the experience that I was having.
Yeah, and it's the release and the not. It's like, for me, the image would be flow on downstream instead of trying to keep it tied to one place. And back to smesh for a minute. That's what you called it.
Sheet music entrapment syndrome for harpists. Yeah, right.
Yeah. If you're going to recover from smesh, then you have to not let go of necessarily the composition
or the
sheet
note music
or the melody, but let go of this trying to keep it in one place around this is how it's supposed to sound. It has to flow or fly or pop like fire, whichever, or and so the releasing is about flow. It's about letting it flow. It's about the movement. We're going back to movement again.
Well, yeah, because it's not the sheet music that's entrapping you. I mean, the sheet music is infinite opportunities and possibilities. What happens, I mean, you can take any piece of sheet music, and especially if you take it apart and start playing with it. I mean, if you're a master musician who can play it and be self-expressed, great. But if you're not a master musician of that particular type, which I'm not, and you therefore cannot be expressive and released through it because you're worried about the technical doing it, you can take this part of it, and probably every measure is infinite possibilities that you could play with. But you do need to release them, and you can't release them if you are saying, I'm doing it wrong.
Right. Or you're trying to do it like someone else does it, or perfectly, or like you should.
Yes, which my therapist is also always saying, and my coaches, don't stop trying to understand this and get it right. And just be there with it and share it. And experience what it is. And I think that's at the heart. I mean, that's what I'm getting. I think, how are we doing on time? Okay. What I'm getting from my takeaway is so many things. First of all, really the power of performing and playing for others, if for no other reason then, even if it's outside or something, that the focus is on being with the music and others. And that can happen whether you're at bedside or whether you're it depends on where you're comfortable doing it, rather than hiding. And I'm talking about myself. and perform, all the things I'm afraid of performing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what I'm saying. Talk, please.
Well, one of the things I'm going to go away with is foundation, functionality, fluency, and freedom. Because there's so many programs out in the world and theories and self-help psychologies and this and that and this and that that go for freedom without first helping you find the foundation. And I think part of the gift of what you do in Hip Harp Academy and the embodiment circle that I offer is about giving people the tools and the support and the framework to find that foundation. And so that connection to foundation is important for freedom. And if we think we can start with freedom without the foundation of our own being, we're going to always be frustrated. We're never going to be truly fulfilled. So the foundation of the inner muse, which means being present to whatever's going on inside of me. And that doesn't mean I'm going to stay stuck in it. It very much may mean, again, moving. Even when I'm at the Harp, if I'm working to be sure I'm getting timing right on a new piece, or I realize I play something and I was playing a waltz a couple of weeks ago and I realized in the B part I got off the timing. Part of the way I deal with that for myself is I stand up and sing it and dance. I'll stand up and do a waltz as I'm singing and hearing the tune in my head to feel it in my body. Because if I feel the rhythm, if I feel that downbeat, it changes my ability. Whereas if I just sat at the harp with the metronome and kept trying to fix it, I wouldn't get the foundation.
Well, it's really interesting because I'm hearing you also say that you're stepping out of certain technical realms so that you can feel the fluency and freedom. And I remember when I used to be practicing classical pieces, there was always two parts to the practice, and two or three parts. One was understanding what it is, breaking it down, where are the patterns. The next was trying to get my hands to do it because I was an adult learning how to play a complex instrument. But at the end of every session, I played the piece with absolute complete freedom and fluency and none of the right notes. And it was a really important part to be. I would literally be thinking the whole piece and playing whatever I could play. I'm just going to say introduction allegro because I remember doing it with this, and I would be thinking ba 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 ba, and but I was playing the piece and I was feeling the freedom. So, and then also working on the foundation of it, which gave me foundation for other things. I mean, I think that's one of the things that's so powerful about foundation and function and understanding functionality is that in music, you learn the foundation and functionality of one piece, and it belongs to every piece. Kathleen, thank you. We have one final comment from Victoria saying, the foundation is an anchor. It gives us something correct to hang on to. I might step away from the word correct, but first I want to go look up that word because there may be something in it I don't. It gives us something correct to hang on to. After we found the anchor, we can learn to swim away from it and come back to it when needed. And my feeling is whatever your analogies, that works. And all that matters is that it works for you. Because as you saw, Kathleen, what works for me, even in a metaphor of flying, absolutely doesn't work for you. and swimming doesn't work for me because it's so much work. And it's cold, and you have to wear a bathing suit and feel stupid. Anyway, so we've got all those things. Thank you, Victoria, thank you for everyone who comes and is part of the conversation and who speaks to us afterwards and writes to us and lets us know that something we said here was meaningful to you. And Kathleen, every time we meet, at the beginning, I was thinking you were going to say, this is the continuation of a conversation that started in my car 20 years ago, I think. And
it's been a long time.
Yeah. And the conversation gets only more and more interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you for this. I'm going to put this into play this week. Thank you so much. And farewell, go forth and harp on the foundation, the functionality, the fluency.
Visit jungatharp.com for show notes, contact links, and to follow the ongoing conversation. That's Jung, as in Carl Jung, the famous psychoanalyst, and harp, as in the many-stringed instrument.